That's literally every Warriors fan right now for the haters. Whereas everyone that said that the Warriors would just be a play-in team. The Warriors just swept the Pelicans, got another win, 4-1 record, second in the stand for the West right now. The Warriors doing incredible and surprising a lot of people out there. We knew if you're a Warriors fan, and if you're following everything, and if you're really a believer and you know how strong the Warriors is, you knew that could happen. It was an interesting start for the season. Now we're going to head to a really tough road games, and we're going to talk about this today. We actually today have a lot to cover. We're going to talk about the guy that extended his contract with the Warriors, and I'm going to give you before the end one trade that the Warriors have made since today is Halloween, and that is spooked the Warriors fans until now, and I'm going to tell you which trade is that happened in the past. So let's see how the Warriors got here, right? The Warriors actually delivered a masterpiece last night, led by Draymond Green, and it has been the story of every single game so far. So when you look to the scores, and I think I need to start complaining about players here more often, because I just said last video about Tracy Jackson, and I said especially about the rebounding that I felt like he needed to play better, and he just came and delivered 9 rebounds, plus 15 points. So as you can see, again, Buddy Hield leading the score for the Warriors, but everyone involved was at the halftime. The Warriors didn't have anyone in double digits. The distribution of points has been the whole storyline for the Warriors. But more important, even when the offense is not fully working, we are still holding the other team with our defense system, which I said here yesterday, has everything to do with Jerry Stackhouse and also with the players that we brought. We know how strong Draymond is. We know how strong Gary Payton is. Tracy Jackson getting better. Kevin Looney is really strong defending as well. And then we also thought Kyle Anderson. We brought other players, and the ones that historically are not that good, they also get involved. And Draymond mentioned about this yesterday. We're going to see it here as well. So before we move forward, I want to highlight, so the Warriors the night before against the Pelicans had only 8 turnovers, which was the lowest of the season. And yesterday they had 13. They actually did much better in the second half, because at the first half we were already like way higher than this number. But anyway, more important, we hold, despite having our worst 3-point shooting night, we hold the Pelicans to only 8-9 points. And we hold Zion and Brandon Ingram that had 30 plus points the night before to only 14 and 12 points. So that's how we understood. And that's great, because when you see this, if like the team evolving this much from one night to the other, also shows how our coach system, our coach assistants and everyone and the players as well, they're capable of reading, understanding your opponent and adjusting very quick to that. So that was a great game, and it shows that the Warriors really has a potential to go for a playoff run. Obviously, a lot of hard games will come, and we're going to talk about it, but the Warriors are in a great path, and they also put them in a good position for these challenging games ahead. So this is how the standings for the West are right now. Like the Oklahoma, obviously, is a very strong team. Everyone knows that. They are 4-0. They play, if I'm not wrong, tonight. But the Warriors are right there. You have the Phoenix Suns, and then I think the whole schedule yesterday was favorable for the Warriors, because you have Memphis losing, you have the Lakers losing. I think the Clippers lost as well for the Blazers, which was surprising. So the Warriors are right there in the mix, and they're coming strong in the beginning. We have said here many months ago that it would be very important for the Warriors, because this beginning was where you would be figuring out like how your style of playing, adjusting to the offense system and everything else, the new players, and the Warriors are right there really strong. So which is great. I want to show this here. So this is, if you want to stop and read, this is what Draymond has been spoke last night. It's about Jerry Stackhouse that I mentioned here before. His defensive system that he's implementing, that was the main reason that the Warriors brought him on board. He was in college, and he's challenging the players, and he's showing so much confidence. And with the things work, it just proved that he is right. He's convincing the players to try new things in that defensive system and to be aggressive. Like you're seeing a lot of more aggressive style compared to the previous season, which is great. It's working. Everyone is on board. Everyone's committed. Everyone is jumping on the ball and jumping on other players and being aggressive. It's true that it's leading for a certain high number of falls, on the Warriors side in a few games, but it's working well, and it's good to see that the players are recognizing it, because it means that everyone is on the same page and the results are definitely triggering out of that. And here are the numbers. Do not say, like, if you're not really following all the games for the Warriors, if you're not a Warriors fan and you're here are the numbers to prove how the results, and comparing to last season, how much the Warriors have been evolving. Historically, the Warriors in every single title was a great defensive team, and they have been bad in the last couple of seasons. And now you see here, for example, the Warriors are leading the NBA in deflections per game and total. They are third right there in the steal per game. So the defensive thing, it is working. Even that we play, for example, 2 games without our superstar Stephen Curry, without Andrew Wiggins and DeAnthony Melton, that is a great defender as well. We had Draymond Green leading those guys, and Buddy Hield being all over the floor. Brandon Podziemski even being a small guy, like, he's really great rebounder. So the Warriors are really taking care of that part, and it makes sense, because even though you are not scoring very well, you keep the game controlled, and that's how they have done in the past 5 games. So it's a small sample size, but as you say, the Warriors are the second in the league right now in holding the opponents, so they're just missing for the OKC, that no surprise is leading the West right now. Only 97.9 points per 100 possessions. So the Warriors are really doing great on the defense, and that's going to be the whole narrative. That's a masterpiece that Draymond, that Jerry Stackhouse, and all the other Warriors players involved on that, Gary Payton, Kevin Looney, they're doing really well. I want to show, and before we move to a few more things, but I want to show here how hard it's going to be the next 5 games. And we got to be realistic about it. If it's going to be very impressive, the Warriors can come back with a winning record out of these 5 games, because they're all road games, and they are all against very strong teams. So you see, we're going to play the Rockets that are doing well right now, and reality is we're going to need to address that sizing again. So remember that we had issue against Zubac. That was the only loss that we have so far. It wasn't, we actually faced a really strong center, and we will face again against the Rockets. And then it comes like Wizards, where the Warriors will play against Jordan Poole. He's leading the Wizards team right now, and he has been playing well. He's actually leading the league right now in steals per game. So it's going to be a very interesting one. Obviously, I think every time that Jordan Poole face off the Warriors, he will try to play the best game of his life and prove that the Warriors did wrong by trading him. And then it comes a sequence that is going to be the insane level for any Warriors fans. Boston Celtics, current champions. And then you have Cavaliers, the only team that hasn't lost yet in the league. And then you have the OKC leading the West Conference right now. So actually the OKC hasn't lost either, but you face Cavaliers, OKC, and Celtics all in a sequence that's literally gonna show what the Warriors are capable and how much they can do. It's going to be very interesting. So November start on fire for the Warriors. It's good that we did this 4-1 record, because it will eventually, even with some loss, we can still keep in the middle. But I think I want to see this, what I'm calling a masterpiece defense that Jerry Stackhouse implemented for the Warriors right now, and taking advantage of the depth of our roster, taking advantage that you don't play too many minutes with the same players, so you can always keep that high level of energy. So that's another important thing to highlight. When you look into this, keep in mind that it is all connected. The Warriors, to play this style of defense that it requires so much from each player, you can be playing those guys close to 40 minutes, right? And that's how the depth of the roster really helps. So before we move forward to the last and the spooky trade that the Warriors have done, I want to highlight this. This is great news, I think, deserved. And this is important. I'm going to mention to you why. So the Warriors exercised the option for the third year of contract in Brandon Podziemski, great player. And when you look to the amount, this $3.6 million, it's a bargain for the Warriors. Let's be real. Podziemski really playing well. He was part of the rookie team last season. And it's actually interesting because, as I said here before, Those type of cheap contracts with strong rookies is what build dynasty, because give you the space to explore other options while having really good players that are still in a lower contract. And obviously later on, he keeps playing like that, he's going to be very well paid, but it gives you time to build and rotate that roster. So it's amazing, I think, for him. It's amazing for the Warriors as well. And the Warriors have still a 4th-year option. So it's one more year that could come. Great news for everyone involved in the Warriors organization. And let's come to this spooky trade that the Warriors have done. And I don't know if you remember, or if you're already with this in mind, maybe there's another one that scares you. But for me, it's the trade that the Warriors made back for Kelly Oubre Jr. Do I think he's a terrible player? No. But look at how much the Warriors put to bring him on board, and we know that didn't work, right? A 1st-round pick, a 2nd-round pick, and then we had to pay his $14 million salary, and that brought to a $68 million tax. So that was a terrible trade that the Warriors have made. It was when Klay Thompson got injured. You can stop and read the text there, but it was to spook and happy Halloween for you. So I hope you're happy with the Warriors so far. I want to know your opinion. Do you think it's just a small momentum, or the Warriors will really be competitive and quiet all the haters, everyone that keeps saying that the Warriors couldn't go any further? Let me know your thoughts. I hope you enjoyed the game last night. I see you tomorrow.